Happy Friday, everybody. You know, it's the Fulfilled Veteran Podcast again, episode 10. I've got Dave and Aaron with me today, so happy to get to know those guys here in a little bit. Welcome. You know, it's a fireside chat with us, so we're going to get to know each other. As you guys know, I self-promote and self-sponsor, so I can say whatever the hell I want to. That's why we're mostly on Rumble. Check us out on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, support in any way, in many ways that you can. All of us, I'm guessing, are silent professional veterans out there, and we are now stopping being silent. So we're now going vocal. So that's why I've got multiple podcasts. So make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. I do have two things I want to promote. So I do self-promote, so I can say whatever the hell I want to and let my guests say whatever the hell they want to as well. And so I'm going to start off with two main things. One, if you don't know who I am, I won't say shame on you, but shame on me. I've been a silent professional. That's why I'm out in front of you guys now and doing more. So over the past 5 years, I've delivered over $10 billion to veterans, mostly special operators. So my key demographic, although I can work with other people, are Night Stalkers, get the 160 dudes out there, the fighter pilots, and all sorts of kind of stuff. So if you don't know who I am, it's because most people know about me through word of mouth, and I've got 3 new clients today. So just want to let you know. But I want to help more people. That's why I'm doing podcasts. I got a book thing I'm going to tell you about here in a little bit, and an empire thing I'm going to tell you about here in a second too. So make sure you continue to support us in all of our endeavors here. So, but yeah, that's why there's a big giant check over my left shoulder. Every veteran out there is worth at minimum $5,000 a month if you're not retired, $7,500 a month if you are retired. If you don't know that, it's because the government doesn't want you to know that, but I do. And it always is paperwork. That's it. Compliant paperwork with that government agency. And if that government agency or entity is looking for perfection, that means they're looking for imperfections. So if you've done it the wrong way for years or haven't done it at all, talk to me, and it works like a champ. So, but I'm the veteran money strategist, helping you guys get through that. If you say, well, I'm 100% already, that's okay. That's a great launching point. Good for you. There's more money above that nobody tells you about. So I help my clients with like a lifetime agreement, if you want to call it that, ongoing gym membership, to where I'm their first phone call for good, bad, and indifferent. So that's, hey, I'm moving. Hey, I had another kid. Hey, my kid's going into college. What's this mean? Hey, the government sent me a weird letter. What's that mean? Nobody else out there does that. No VSOs, no American Legions, none of them. So just want to let you know. So take care of yourself. It's your money. Start as early as you can, because time and money are two things that you can't get back from the government. Talk to me. We'll get you squared away. So that's my veteran money side. I also do, that's consulting side. I do coaching side. Coaching side is empire building. And so I help veterans out there create your empires and get that empire going and growing. And there's could be profit, could be nonprofit. So whatever it is that you're trying to push your service into, let's do it together. This world is moving so fast, and Aaron brought that point up a couple of seconds ago, that like AI and everything is changing everything. So I know you guys are about my age or a little bit older, Dave, but I know what a rotary phone is. I was born in 1980, and you say fax machine to somebody with gray hair or no hair, they go, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's an old clunky piece of shit. But then you say fax machine to somebody within their 20s or maybe even 30s now, right? And they go, well, that's like Siri or some shit, like Alexa. That's a fax machine. It's gonna tell me facts. No. So the world is moving so fucking fast now, and that's why I'm doing the podcast. That's why I've got books coming out, which I'll tell you about the book here in a minute. But things are moving so fast. I know you guys want to get out and have a I just want to sleep in for the next 5 years. And then you wake up and go, shit, it's been 5, 10 or 15, 20 years. Fuck, man. So that's why I got a book coming out, that first $5, which I'll show you here now since I'm mentioning it. So first $5, a bunch of F words. So faith, family, fitness. One of the key words is fast. Don't fall into the trap that most of us did of taking too long to get ourselves where we want to be. And money, which is finances. There's another one of the F's in there that helps you get there. So the government's hiding your money from you. When you have your money and you have the right mentors, have the right path, the right maps, roadmaps, I like to use roadmap as a better analogy, then you get more shit done faster. So everybody out there should be your own empire. We've got like very, very few empires. Black Rifle Coffee Company, What else you got there? Crunch Style. There we go. They're not a sponsor of mine, but Crunch Style, and maybe one or two others. That's it. That's horrible, guys. That's horrible, right? Again, Aaron's already shaking his head. That's horrible. We need to be in each other's corner. So that's why we're going to talk about some of my stuff, some of their stuff today, and how we can do more shit together. So the reason why I also held the book up is that help me. I know by this time you guys see this, you may already be past May 24th. On May 24th, we are going to #1 on the Amazon bestseller list. So I've got a book contract to thanks Dave for the thanks here. Going to #1 on the Amazon list. So we've got the book is going to go officially on sale for that day for $1.99. So make sure you guys share that with your partners out there and your other sphere of influence. Help me get to #1 because that's going to help me help more veterans. I'm a tool. The book is a tool to help you guys. You have to have, and we're going to talk about that a lot today. You have to have two things to do what you want to do. You have to have a human who helps you, and that human has to have knowledge, a roadmap to get you there. We'll talk about more of that in our chat today, but I don't want to hit too hard on that. If you don't have those things, you're missing out. And these days, if you wait weeks, months, or years, you're going to be light years behind anybody else. I'll give you an example on this podcast stuff. That I'm at episode 10. By the time Sean Ryan got to triple digits, 100, he is now talking to all kinds of crazy stuff, folks out there. So not just special operators, but like Jordan Peterson the other day on episode 108. Like, holy crap, man, 108, and you're already talking to Jordan Peterson? Yeah, because one of my other books that's coming out later this year is Small Teams Doing Great Things. When you have small teams, like Veterans Helping Veterans, we do a lot more good shit fast because we know how to do good shit quickly. So, and I see Aaron over there shaking his head. Good stuff. We'll get back to May 24th. So, guys, help me on May 24th, next Friday. Buy the book, share the book. You guys will love this. On Amazon, you can choose subcategories of where you want your book to be placed. So, like personal growth, or compete with Oprah Winfrey or some shit. My book is going to be in one place. It will be under military policy, which may sound boring, but in the top 20 is the art of war. Still nestled in there firmly all these years later. So imagine seeing this every time they go, hey, ROTC kid, hey, E5, you're going to E6 camp or whatever the fuck you guys call that shit now. And this comes up, pops up. When you look in that boring section, you're going to go, wow, that senior leader book stuff. Well, what's this? Oh, shit. I need to know about that. So anyway, strategery, people, strategery. So, yeah, help me get that book up to #1. We're going to try to get on 2 lists, the regular in-country list, and we're going to try to get to #1 on international bestseller. So if you know people in Canada, UK, and Australia, help me. The 2 places that you can find more information and the link on how to buy that. We have 2 book groups, one on Facebook and one on LinkedIn. And we've got some posts that are obviously out there that are going to guide you into those. So that's the place to find the links. So one on LinkedIn and one on Facebook. Go on either or both. Share that, support that, help me help veterans. If I were to help, let's say 100 veterans a month right now, that may be great. There's so many veterans out there. I'm trying to help 1,000 veterans. We'll talk more about that on today's podcast. If I helped 1,000 veterans a month, what am I going to want to do then? Help 10,000, help 100,000. I'm going to share some math with you. I did some math the other day on, let me see, my newest math thing that you guys may not have seen. Something about, I asked Alexa the other day, how many veterans there are, U.S. veterans that are out there. There's 18.3 million living veterans right now. I don't know why I chose this, but out of 18, let's say that 6 million aren't receiving their money at all. And that at all is $5,000 a month. That is $35 billion a month. Our veterans who fought for this country are not receiving their money. 6 million veterans not receiving $35 billion a month. That's disgusting. I'm the best in the world at what I do. No human that I've ever briefed, no human veteran has ever said, Albert, everything you're telling me, I already have in my pocket. None. There's over 10 million veterans out there not receiving any money. So help me help you guys out there. All right, what else do I want to tell you about? Yeah, that'll be it for now. So I know Aaron's on mute. Dave, I'm gonna have you guys just give us a 1 or 2 minute story, get the hooks in, and I'm gonna take a seat and start drinking coffee. Welcome, guys. Dave, fire away.
Thanks, Albert.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Albert, for the opportunity to get on here. Dave Wetmore. I'm a veteran, U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne Division. Served from 70 to 72. Didn't see any combat. Don't regret it. Had the opportunity, like everybody else that was in at that time, and fortunately, I drew the long straw. So since that time,
drafted or joined?
I was drafted.
Oh, wait, okay.
Yeah,
that's key. Isn't that crazy? Like,
yeah,
for Aaron and I, to be like, fuck, man, I couldn't imagine drafted.
Well, it was an experience. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
And if I want to double down on that, I was actually a Canadian citizen when I was drafted. I was living here on a green card, and the thing about the draft was that, and I think it's still this way. Of course, there is no draft, but it could be implemented at any time. The rules are still there. Anyone who is here on anything other than a temporary visa was subject to the draft. So I was in with several people who actually were non-U.S. citizens, a couple Canadians that I met while I was in there who had been drafted also. So that's a little
unique about
the military.
Huh.
But my military service served me well, though, overall. I was able to use the GI Bill to go to college. I was able to, and I'm still use the VA healthcare system, which I'm very fortunate here in Columbus. We have an excellent VA center. It's a kind of a boutique hospital, shall we say, and it's not an overnight, but it has everything that you could need, other than like it has an emergency room even. So since the Army, I went to college, got a degree, worked in summers in a coal mine for 2 summers. In a strip mine up in central Kentucky. And that was an experience also. After college, I went to work for a big utility, Tennessee Valley Authority. Some of you may have heard of that. And worked there for 10 years, took a buyout. They were downsizing. And so even though my job wasn't eliminated, they were just scrounging for people who would take a buyout. And I was one who did. And at that time, I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and became a consultant in the air pollution industry. And that's basically what I had done at the TVA was air pollution engineering, shall we say. So I followed that path for 32 years, counting TVA. And the last 10 of it, I had my own small consulting company. Never had more than 4 permanent employees, and I used a lot of 1099 people. But my specialty was emissions testing. So any manufacturing process you can imagine has emissions coming off of it and into the air. And all those what we call sources of emissions are regulated. So my job, my little niche company, what we did is we would go into these facilities and test the sources and find out whether the people were actually in compliance with the regulations. And we did other things too. We did engineering testing for people and things like that, but that was the long and short of it. And then in 2008, I've been working with a personal growth and development organization in Cincinnati for several years as a volunteer, and really, really liked that personal growth. That was really gave me a lot of fulfillment, a lot of purpose. And I used to say epiphanies take time, and then I had one.
Yeah.
I had an epiphany, and the epiphany was, hey, you need to sell your business and go into personal growth and development. So I followed my gut on that one, put my company up for sale, had a $35 ad in a trade magazine, and had the buyer within 30 days.
Wow.
Company. Spent 2 years with them, transitioning the staff and the clients and all that sort of thing, and then went into life coaching. During that time, I took a couple of life coaching courses, got certified, and since 2010, I have been a certified transformative life coach. Done a lot of things during that time. I'm sure, Albert, you're a coach. Money just doesn't fall out of trees. So I sold cars. I worked at Costco. I did some multi-level type things to keep me going, keep bread on the table. But all along, I've always been a coach and probably gave too much away. Actually, I was so enraptured by it that I sometimes I find it hard to charge people for it. I just get a sense of pride in being able to help somebody realize something that they didn't realize before we spoke. So that's where I am now. I am full-time. I say full-time coach because I've divested myself of all the other things, the multi-levels and the consulting company and all that. And 73 years old. So it allows me to work from home, work the number of hours that I want, and find a lot of fulfillment, a lot of purpose. So there you go. I think that was longer than 2 minutes, but
got the hooks in though. Canadian draftee got the hooks in. That's so bizarre. Yeah, Aaron, fire away.
Yeah, well, I don't think mine's as interesting. I'm Aaron Welch. I'm the owner of Lift Digital Marketing. Small boutique agency, full service. So everything from website design and development, SEO, paid search, social media, content marketing, email, database, CRM, all of the things. What I get the most fulfillment out of working with small service-based businesses. So veteran-owned businesses first. Absolutely love working and helping fellow veterans. Smaller businesses, $1, $2, $3, $4 million a year, with the goal of getting them to $10 million a year. That's super fulfilling. That's life-changing for folks. Also work with nonprofits. So I like to joke, we work with animals and veterans, and it's kind of redundant. So animal nonprofits, so your shelters, your support dog, support service dogs, equine therapy, that sort of thing. And then obviously veteran service organizations, which is really where my passion lies. So helping with the marketing, helping with the fundraising. I know of a couple of grants that are easy to get that every nonprofit can use. So really enjoy working with people doing good work. I was not a draftee. I was the kid growing up saying I would have gone to Canada if I had been drafted, and then joined the Marine Corps the summer after high school graduation, of course. I am not a combat veteran. I'm very lucky also. I served from 95 to 99. So, but I did do multiple deployments. So a lot of ship time, floating over to Westpac's. If you're a Marine Corps veteran and you know the lingo, floating over to the Middle East, hitting Liberty ports on the way. I'm a native Texan. I grew up on the Gulf Coast and never took vacations. So that was a pretty wild education. Seeing the world. It was a great experience. There were still, crap to go through, burn pits, my favorite, and tons of sinus issues since then. Tore up my knee. May have been on liberty when that happened. So
you mean in uniform when that happened?
I was not in uniform, but I was practicing hand-to-hand combat skills.
Under contract, what I meant?
Yes, absolutely under contract in Australia. It's a great story. And I have tinnitus. Like I lived under flight decks for 6 months at a time. I have the tinnitus. My tinnitus sounds like the test of the emergency broadcast system 100% of the time. So I actually have hearing aids, that kind of good stuff. Albert, we're going to talk later because I was diagnosed with sleep apnea 10 years ago and haven't gotten a penny out of the VA. Even though I get my CPAP from them.
Yeah, I've heard that multiple times. People go, "Oh, yeah, it's a." Or when I say people, I mean veterans. So veterans go, "Oh, yeah, I heard it's a guaranteed 50%er." Well, it's a qualifier. The VA is not going to go, "Hey, wake up, Aaron. Here's all your money.
Yep.
We've been waiting for. There you are, Aaron. You're hiding. We found you. Here's your money." The government doesn't do that.
Oh no, absolutely not. So yeah, after the Marine Corps, I was a very early adopter to digital marketing. I was literally the only guy in the barracks with a computer back in 98 and 99. So I've been doing this a very long time, working with small businesses, working with large enterprises, but it wasn't fulfilling working with Fortune 500 companies making billionaires billions and millions, and that's why I got back down, close to the ground, helping people where I can make the most biggest impact, I guess.
You said you grew up in Gulf Coast of Texas.
Yep. Southeast Texas. So Beaumont, Port Arthur area.
Okay. I was going to say, you can't throw a stick in Galveston without hitting the PD, the police department there, without hitting my clients. They're all of them. If you guys are listening, hi. If there's any police department veterans still there that aren't my clients, shame on you. I don't know what the hell's taking you so long.
Well,
flooded into Houston, etc. I've got little groups of people everywhere. So the LAPD, the FBI, DEA, Border Patrol, all that stuff. So anyhow.
Yep. Well, you may have my cousin as a client. I don't know. He's a 100% disabled Port Arthur police policeman.
He's not my client sitting in my way. I'll talk to him and he'll be like, "Shit,
absolutely.
I thought I was done. I was done. Look, you're in a great place. You're done with that. Now you get to go more money and all that kind of stuff because property taxes and that kind of stuff."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Then there's other stuff. I know there's different things called Hazelwood Act and shit like that. Like these, the veterans are just straight up lied to. No matter what you did or what you're doing or what, it doesn't matter. Special operators, especially, they get. Let me tell you a side story. You're going to kick out of this. So I host what I call baseball and batting practices every week with my clients. So here a short time ago, Dave, you'll get a kick out of this too. Just in the past week or two, I don't know if it was this week or last week. I think it was last week. We had a 60-something-year-old fighter pilot come in the room. And as he was coming in the room, I knew who he was. Because I don't memorize certain things, but I can somehow remember certain people from name and faces and stuff like this. I saw his name, and I knew exactly who he was and what he did. And there's probably 15 people in the room. And he's the last one coming in, and his whatever mute button or something, circle of death was still going. So I go into a 30-minute briefing. And I told everybody, I said, "Hey, you're going to want to know who Randy is." And then, so these guys in the room, kind of like us, some are older, some are younger and stuff. They're leaning in. I finished my 30-minute briefing and I said, "Okay, turn it over to you guys for questions." I always tell you guys to, if you're my client, introduce yourself to the room, name, age, what you did and how long you did it, so everybody can see who's in the room, know each other. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Randy. I'm an old guy, and I flew for the Navy for a while." And I was like, "Who did you fly with?" And he goes, "Well, there's a team that I flew with." And I said, "What's that team's name?" And he goes, "All right, it was the Blue Angels." Number 7 with the Blue Angels. Yeah. So anyway, but you guys can probably look them up with what you know thus far. So good shit. Point back to you guys as being, everybody in the room goes, oh, wow, that's super cool. Super cool. You know, I'm a pilot and I was a pilot and blah, blah. And a lot of thumbs up during that meeting. He asked some really good questions. And after the questions, I gave him good answers. And I said, everybody in the room is leaning in, thinking the same thing. And I'm just going to say it out loud. If it's this hard for badasses, it's got to be nightmare on steroids for Joe Average or whatever. And like I said earlier, that now, you know, fax machine 20 years ago is different than what it is today. And the VA is now more online, which is its own version of nightmare. And it just, I call it the rotisserie of fuckery. And anyway, so we won't get too deep into that, but you have to, guys, gals, I don't care if it's you or your family member that drags you to meet me. You have to have 2 things: a human who has a fucking plan, a proven plan. Let me say it that way. Proven plan. I delivered $10 billion in 5 years to the deadliest humans on earth. I'm the guy who has a plan and it fucking works. So anyway, but back to, let's see, I was going to ask you something else, Aaron. So you get a kick out of my last podcast was with a veteran business owner here in Indiana who, I'm not going to go too detailed on his story. You have to go check it out, but I'll have to get you guys connected because he's a veteran who has a service dog, now multiple service dogs somehow, or same dogs that are same breed, but one of them's a service dog.
Yep.
And he's from somewhat middle of nowhere, Indiana. And he is now in the dog treat business, which is now, he's got it going, did all the hard shit to get it going. Now he's getting it growing, and it's I want to call it like human grade food, but it's not chemically crazy, the shit that we eat now, right? So no preservatives, stuff like that. So it's still got a good shelf life, like 90 days, but obviously fresher is better, right? So he's trying to scale that up. So he would definitely love to get connected with other service people and stuff like that. So I told him it's funny, like I was telling Aaron or Dave when we first started chatting behind the scenes, that it's amazing how fast time goes when we're chatting with 2 or 3 guests. And he and I were just chatting the whole time about dog treats. I've got dogs and cats, and who doesn't love animals, and especially just when you have a niche. And that's what he and I just kept going back to, is that, let's say anything dog, or let's say anything cat, or anything pet, is, there's a lot there. There's a lot of money, multi-billion in every single silo. And he's like, yeah, even with service dogs being big athletic dogs, even in we called it, I told him, I said, steal this. So I said something about even for your athlete dog, because how many athlete treats, for like sheriff's department, canine units, stuff like that, they don't want dog treats that weigh their dog down, that make them non-functional, and that could be a fucking detriment, life problem. Hey man, sorry, my dog's shitting over here. It's puking its guts out because it ate something bad. I'm sorry, I can't help you. So the sheriff's department loves this guy. So and what we're seeing now, and I'm just telling you guys this to get you excited, that you're seeing a hell of a lot more empires being created because there's a veteran with a great idea who is now partnering with another smart person who's like maybe a veterinarian, or it could be digital marketers or something like that, and just scientists and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm sure Dave's going to want to weigh in on this one. We're all breathing the same air. We're all in the same aquarium. What if you think the Earth is flat around, whatever, but we're all breathing the same fucking air. So whether it's a steam stack or whatever, a smokestack in Indianapolis or a smokestack in China, you're breathing the same fucking shit, man. We're going to circle back to that. So my point back to that is, if we're all environmentally breathing and exposed to all this shit, you might as well bring it back to the United States. And that means that there's a huge opportunity for veterans who understand. I call it with my staff, I say, we manage tasks, standards, and emotions. Mm-hmm. We know how to do that. Tasks, standards, emotions. Oh, emotional impact. Oh, if I want to buy a Tesla and it's got batteries that are deadly as fuck, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. In zombie land here. This is all fake. And I'm telling you, don't sue me, people out there who have a lot of money. But if you want to buy a battery driven car and the batteries, one, are dangerous by themselves dangerous, or where's the battery go? Matter is not created or whatever you call it.
Destroyed.
Go destroyed.
Yep.
It's got to be somewhere. It's somewhere now. Dave was probably down there digging for some shit in Kentucky, so it was somewhere. It's now somewhere else. China doesn't give a damn, or whatever. So a lot of countries don't give a damn. And then what's weird is the people on the west coast of California, they're the ones that are the tree hug. I was born in California, by the way, so just fucking hugging the trees. And then you go, what's that smell? Well, it's batteries and shit from China because the wind comes all the way around and comes back up. So I don't know if you guys know that. Yeah, you're breathing Chinese farts, and it's and it has a lot of poison in it. So anyhow, but Dave, I'm gonna let you talk for a while. I'm bogarting this shit here.
Well, that was that was a good lead in because I've got a brother who's, let's say, he's conservative, and we've had those conversations a few times about the environment and the electric cars and all that. So, but what you said actually, Albert, is yes, the smoke is coming from China, but there is an opportunity for a veteran or an entrepreneur here in the United States now. How do we take care of that? Mm-hmm. We have it. We're not going to get rid of it. The clock never rolls backwards. I've been around a long time. I've never seen us go backwards. We're always going forward. So opportunities, the way I look at it, the way I coach my people, opportunities are everywhere. One thing that I like to tell people to drop right away is how. Do not use the word how. Just say, okay, there's an opportunity here to create a way to recycle batteries. Let's go for it. Let's find out. Let's find all we can about batteries, all we can about recycling operations. And maybe we'll find a niche there that, will make you a multi-zillionaire.
Absolutely.
Is there so who's your niche market now, Dave?
Pardon me?
Who are the clients that you like to work with on your coaching now?
Entrepreneurs have always been my bailiwick. And I guess because I was, kind of a late bloomer to the entrepreneurial world. And so I've always been an entrepreneurial guy. I've coached a lot of coaches because the thing about coaches is they don't have an agenda. And so coaches just want stability. They just want somebody that they can bounce things off of, appreciate, hold them accountable, those kinds of things. I've coached a few executives. They tend to be a little bit more high strung. They want to set big, powerful goals. And then they want me, the coach, to tell them how to get there. Well, that's not my job to tell them how to get there. My job is to, interrogate them to the point where they can see for themselves how to get there. So what's kind of odd here is that after all this time, after 14 years now or so of coaching, and I've niched before. People talk about niches all the time, finding a niche, find your niche. I've niched in coaches and solopreneurs and CEOs, women CEOs. None of them really panned out for a long period of time. But I did not go for veterans for years. I don't know why I didn't really make it a focal point to go for veteran business owners. And really only in the last 6 months have I really turned my Pareto 80-20 towards veterans. So veteran business owners, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, there's just such a market for it. I know you guys aren't combat guys, but you got some battle hardened motherfuckers out there who know how to get shit done. And I love small lines because they make sense. So when you have like a make it happen or let it happen, make it happen. Just like you said, Dave, remove how, just get it fucking done. Learn on your route. I heard a really good line today from one of these popular clips and stuff. And I don't have time to usually listen to long form stuff. I just listen to maybe Dan Bongino and see what's on the news every day. But aside from that, I'm just listening to clips from people who have more money than me. And but it's just live simply, and then that's one of my, you can't really see it very well. It's over there's a red book over here, and then there's a blue book over here. So that's my individual personal growth one that's going to come out next, and I call it the hero's formula, how to be the hero of your own story, and just be unleashed. And I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I think you guys would agree with it, that just in the sense of remove all the negativity. You have to be positive. Let somebody else be negative. You know, yin and yang, good and bad. Like, just speak in positive tones. You'll catch me go. Sometimes I have to say negative things and go, okay, I want to make sure I'm saying this in a positive tone. Here's what it is. And I'll have to think and talk and say it. I like positive thinkers. That's good. I don't want to say I don't like negative thinkers. I want to say I like positive thinkers, right? So like, I want to breathe fucking helium every day so I can be lighter than anybody else in the room. You know what I mean? And
disguise your way.
What I love about veterans, we know how to eat dirt. Doesn't have to be like, oh, I shared blood in the same mud. Got it. There's not a whole lot of combat guys out there, even though that we've had many, many wars and whatever conflicts or whatever you want to call them. There's still very few people at that like tier 2, tier 1 level that have just been putting bullets in people's faces. Very, very few. Yeah. However, tier 3, 2, 1 all know how to suck it up and drive on, right? how to eat crackers out of a mud puddle or some shit. Like, keep moving forwards, because here's the thing. And when it comes to zombie apocalypse, there's 3 things that are going to happen. You have to have air, water, and food. However the zombie apocalypse happens, or whatever, it could be anything. There's a lot of people out there who don't know how to fucking breathe. They don't know how to get fresh water, and they damn sure don't know how to feed themselves after they've drank horrible water and they can't stop shitting and puking, and they put themselves into a tizzy, and now they're probably dead. So anyhow, but not to get too negative on that shit, but like, just that's a reality. That when I was in SEER school, that's what they said. They said, hey, at a bare minimum, just pull it in. Every time you're in a situation that you're be primal. Like, we forget this. Dave is old enough to maybe remember this. Maybe Dave's parents didn't have hot showers, but Aaron and I, we grew up with hot showers. Like, that was the thing. We don't even think about not having hot showers. But Dave can go, well, shit, my parents didn't have hot showers ever.
Correct.
You know, isn't that insane? Like, Dave was drafted from fucking Canada.
Yeah.
That's insane. Aaron and I are going, what the flying mother?
I'd have gone back.
Yeah. digging in deep, digging trenches. Come get me, bitch. Oh my God, that's insane. So anyhow, but yeah, just we're gritty. We're gritty. That's why I think there's such a great opportunity for market takeover. In my hope is, and Albert's little dream world is, in the next 5 or 10 years, the Fortune 500 or whatever is all veteran owned. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, having grown up in Texas, Herb Keller is like, the pinnacle veteran with Southwest. But I mean, yeah, there's a glaring lack. Now, that's not to say that there are plenty of successful veteran businesses out there, but not on a large scale. And we know how to do stuff on a large scale. I was actually talking about this kind of just yesterday with a nonprofit that founder that I'm involved with. A lot of veterans are more likely than the regular population to start businesses, and I think on some level it's because we know how to be gritty, and it's because we know how to get things done. But on some level, I think it might be because we're a little bit unhirable. Like,
a little bit, huh?
sorry, you're not gonna bark orders at me, corporate guy. Like, who
Yeah.
are you?
You can't call me dickhead. I said with all due respect.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I'm glad you got your MBA, but you're not gonna bitch at me, because my email was a little terse. We don't put up with that. Or at least I'll speak for myself. That got me in trouble in corporate America every single time. So we do start businesses more often, and I think it's a combination of some of those things, for sure. I know when I started my first business, I was 25, so I was 3 years out of the Marine Corps, and I was still leading by Marine Corps tactics. So I was not the best boss, for sure. And I caught myself knife handing on occasion. Definitely some raised voices,
Head or gut.
Well, no, thankfully no. See, no, Albert and I, we
Remember that
were
Bruce Willis movie, Head or Gut?
like, they couldn't hit us in boot camp by the time we got to boot camp, allegedly.
Right.
But yeah, I was not the best boss, for sure. I've definitely learned and evolved over the years. But damn, there was nobody there to show me a better way.
Mm-hmm.
I learned all those lessons the hard way. You can't yell at people, period. You really can't. I think on some level we start businesses more because we care more. Like when we get a hold of something, we're going to make it happen. We care more. And a lot of people just don't care about the jobs. Not that they don't want to do a good job, but they don't care as much as the owner. They just don't. It's not their baby. They're there for money. So I was always pissed at people who didn't care as much as me. And it took me years to figure that out. And I do think it goes back to that training, that, camaraderie and esprit de corps. It just doesn't exist outside of the military. It really doesn't. You get a lot of analogies between sports teams and like, really caring and guys being, or girls, women, sorry, like functioning as a team and going towards, a mission. Man, those are few and far between. That's, 1% of 1% of 1% of us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and how old are you, Aaron?
I just turned 47.
Nice. When was your birthday?
April 12th. So about a month ago.
I gotcha.
And man, I feel it. Holy cow.
You'll get over that, Aaron. Trust me.
Oh, I know it gets worse. Thanks, Dave.
Feeling that'll come along that'll take its place. So, so don't get attached to it, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. We're all in temporarily abled bodies, if we're lucky. And this is something that I've learned with, being in the VA system. I was 20% rated right out of the Marine Corps. Like I did have some good advice. I knew that 20% was the magic number for vocational rehabilitation. So made sure I got it, got the benefits for that. But then I was going to the VA for my tinnitus and for my ear with like World War II vets and Vietnam vets who had real physical problems. And I like had a limp, or I like couldn't quite, I felt bad going in. I felt bad using the VA system. It took me quite a few years to get back to it. So like you, Dave, like, with my digital marketing career and work, I didn't go after veterans for a long time. Not until I started my current agency 6 years ago, where veteran-owned businesses were a focus. So I've been doing it for 18 years before I was like, man, there's a lot of other folks, a lot of veteran business owners I can connect. We know the language. There's instant camaraderie. It's like a lot of those things that we miss, that we don't even maybe know that we miss. So I've been very big on helping other veterans, helping veteran service organizations. Like, we got to help each other. The easiest way for everybody, for that rising tide to lift all boats, we can lift it ourselves. Like, we can lift each other up and help each other out. And we've earned it. God damn it. We have earned it. That 20% that I got when I was 22 years old, it shows up more and more every day. Like, now I've got a bad back, didn't know, herniated discs, and nobody knows how or why. All kinds of crazy stuff showing up. We'll get to in the weeds with my own health stuff, but I got dry feet. Don't know why. I do know that I drank JP5 on multiple deployments because JP5 got in the water system.
Oh, wow.
Oops. Never a word about that. But guess what? Now there's a big study that has just been published. And now, government's owning up to a bunch of, oh, yeah, we accidentally poisoned a bunch of folks. Sorry.
I know a lot of stuff about those things because my clients are coming to me already. And
and it's weird stuff like my dry feet, crazy. I get hangnails constantly. Like, there's tiny little things that just don't add up. That don't.
It takes people talking like this to understand that, though, because there's, as a pilot, which Dave, I don't know if you knew this. So I started out enlisted infantry and then in the Army, and then got out in 2000, and then 9/11 happened. I tried to get back in a couple of different ways, and ROTC was a better way. So I went to Corpus Christi, and that's where I did ROTC. And they're now part of the Texas A&M, and so, but and then got selected for medevac. So I was a medevac pilot. So I flew missions over in Afghanistan. So anyhow, but coming back to like just trends and people talking. So I remember when I was flying night vision goggles and stuff, they say, okay, when you take your night vision goggles off, you may for the next 8 hours see, or a certain period of time, see a certain color for a certain period of time. And it's like a super light violet or some shit like that, like light purple or something. And if somebody didn't tell me, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. But by being told, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't call that this is normal, but somebody else sees this thing. And it's amazing how I don't know how they tested those things or whatever, but they had to have had some, okay, pilots, what did you see? What did you see? What did you see when you put them on? What did you see when you took, like somebody in their ear the whole time? What are you seeing right this second? Well, I'm trying to fly a helicopter right now. Well, I know, but what do you see right now? Are you seeing green? Are you seeing honeycomb? Are you seeing fractions? Are you seeing little flickers? And then you go, well, yeah, I noticed that I see something a little purpley afterwards. You see purple? Yeah. Okay. It's not even giant purple. It's just like a little bit. And just like any kind of flashlight situation where just light changes and you kind of squint and go, okay. But it's a fraction of a second. And what I like about that is it's in a book. Somebody goes, hey, this thing happened. And in this may not have a good or bad connotation to it, just is. And no, you're not going blind. No, your eyes aren't going crossed, but you're going to see purple for possibly a fraction of a second. Oh, there it is. Shit, that's weird. So stuff like that. But us being able to talk like this allows for us to go, oh, no shit. I've got these, whatever, I'll call them symptoms. Yeah, signs and symptoms, because a sign is something you can see. So it's like a person profusely sweating, everybody in the room can see it, those sorts of things. So symptoms are internal and stuff like that. So feel free, I don't want to say you, Aaron, but people out there listening to things, talk about things. Talk about things that, I know, guys, it's hard for us to talk about things sometimes like that, but just talk about things and you're going to find out your buddy probably has similar stuff, especially if you're in the same area, because I'll give you an example. There's two types of environmental exposures. A lot of people talk about PACT Act, which to me is baby brother. We're not going to get into all the details of that, but there's environmental exposures that's been around for a long time, and it has a death benefit to it, and $2,500 a month death benefit for your family. So getting away from death benefit, but there's people out there, clients of mine, who have had if you're anywhere in Germany and you stayed in some kind of barracks or whatever, which I was in Germany, I don't know if I was in those barracks, but there were people with infertility problems, both male and female. So these are studies that are just now being figured out, that what's wrong with all these people not being able to have kids. So there's always little pockets of groups, and especially, I mean, again, we're all breathing the same fucking air, eating the same dirt. We're all touching this in some way. It may touch you more or less or fast or slow. You have no clue. I don't want to say talk about it when you're there's time to talk about it, but anyway, maybe not now. But talk to somebody out there.
Yeah.
Talk to me maybe, and I'll guide you in the right direction. Because there's healthcare, then there's claims. So healthcare, take care of yourself, do what you need to do. I'm not a doctor. Don't sue me. I'm not a doctor. But claim is your money. But some people lean too far on, well, my husband's dead, and I'm just going to kick down a door and get all the money from the government. Well, that doesn't work either. It's always paperwork, crisp, compliant, accurate paperwork. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox with that shit. Dave, I'm very curious. How did you get into environmental stuff?
Well, in college, I kind of became friends with one of my professors, and I started out majoring in chemistry, and then I switched after 2 semesters because there was just too much unprovable theory. Because I was really what I would have majored in if I could have, but at the time I didn't see that there was going to be any way to make a living at it, was philosophy. So I took philosophy all the way through college, and I had one professor, was a young guy, in environmental. It was an environmental course that I just took on a whim. I took sociology, I took criminology, I took a course in just about every single school that there is at a university, just trying to become more knowledgeable and maybe find something that really pulled at me. And Tom Bakley was his name. So Tom, he was really into the environment. So we actually constructed a still for Earth Day. And we what we did was we went to a local grocery store and we got a bunch of the produce, the shavings and the trimmings and all this from the produce. And we were going to show people at this Earth Day demonstration how you could distill alcohol from these trimmings and so on. And so we did. And let me tell you, though, it was not anything anybody wanted to drink. It was raw shit. Let me just put
prison
that
wine, or whatever it is, prison hooch.
Hey, I saw Marines and sailors drinking, mouthwash for the alcohol. So you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, this was a level lower than mouthwash. But anyway,
stings the nostrils. People instantly losing teeth.
Coming over, and here we had all this little setup over there with a Bunsen burner and glassware, and we were cooking off all this crap, and so that kind of piqued my interest. And then I went to a job fair when I was a senior in college, and the Tennessee Valley was there. And so I just filled out an application with them. I don't know who I even talked to. I don't even remember back in that day, but they called. I'd graduated maybe a month or two, and I got a call and said, "Hey, we got a job. It's not really environmental, but it kind of is. And, are you think you're interested?" So I went and looked at it, and was what's called a material tester at a coal-fired power plant. So my job was to measure the amount of coal that was coming into the plant off of barges. Coal came in on barges. We would go out on these barges and we would measure them, find the water line when they were full, and then go back and measure them again after they'd emptied them. And that would give us the tonnage of coal. We would also sample it. We had, real sampling techniques that we use, sound engineering techniques. And then that was the basis that they paid the coal supplier, was on the quantity and the quality. So that I did that for less than a year, and then we had a small experimental wet scrubber attached to the coal plant, and I had an opportunity to go over there and work over there as a lab tech. So that's what I did. I went there, and from that moment on, that was it. The environmental was, I loved it. We did all kinds of testing on different kinds of pollution control devices, scrubbers and oxidizers, and anything you can think of to reduce. Really, what they were interested in was sulfur emissions, being a coal-fired power plant.
Mm.
And I really got off on it. And the job at TVA was a government job, so I'd say I probably actually worked about 4 hours a day, and the other 4 hours a day I read and played checkers or whatever to pass the time, and continued my philosophical reading. Did Vonnegut and all those people back in the day. So that's that was the impetus for my environmental.
Dave, I'm glad you got involved with environmental, because with like your background almost sounds like like a prequel to Breaking Bad. Like you were on the path, man.
Yeah.
With chemistry and doing testing and sampling, like you were on the path. So I'm glad you choose environmental.
Yeah, thanks.
So
It
in
was
short,
Dave's
doing meth. He's a meth dealer.
environmental was that was so funny. When I first went to work there, all the old guys at the power plant had been working there. So this was in 78 when I started there. And all these guys had been there like 20 years, since the late 50s and 60s. And they're like, oh, environmental is going to bankrupt the country. These environmentalists, they're going to we're not going to have jobs. Well, turns out that, now environmental is about 10 times exponential bigger than coal-fired power plant operators. So it was, I always thought that was hilarious. Oh yeah, we're going to bankrupt the country. Okay.
Yep. Sky's falling.
You're making me think of with like coal and stuff is that I live again in Indianapolis, and so when I take my girls to school, we have to cross train tracks. And so this morning, and it's only they're like non-passenger trains. We never see passenger trains heading out of Indianapolis. So go with me on this. Indianapolis is the largest city in the U.S. without a water source. Shipping. So why don't we have like better trains and better movement? Like, why does Japan have had for the longest time awesome, I don't know, I've been there, but just faster trains? We're bigger. Why don't we have trains? Why do we not have? So is it environmental? Is it you don't have the people who need to do the work? Like you got a bunch of soft-handed pussies these days who don't want to go out there and swing a hammer and make this country better. Because I know Trump's talking about now I don't know if you guys heard this. It's been out for a while, but he said that he would like to build new cities, big new cities. What's some of the newest cities that are out there? Maybe like Vegas or something, you know what I mean? And I mean, if you can it's mob run money, but anyhow, but if it, the government is a mob too. So if we were able to, like, go with me on this, guys, if I were able to get to where I am in 5 years and deliver $10 billion, imagine what the next 4 years I can do. I would like, this is my little pipe dream here. I would like in the next 4 years, because here's the thing. A lot of people right now are talking about the politics and stuff. And they're like, oh, who's going to be the VP for the red ticket under Trump? And Dan Bongino was talking about this all week too, of like, that does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as like all the other cabinet levels, Department of VA, Department of Education, Department of Transportation, Department of Security, Homeland Security, all these things, infrastructure, all these infrastructures, they're just dog shit right now. So imagine this, guys. Imagine in 4 years, I'm the VA head. Aaron is somehow involved. He's the cabinet leader for some kind of technology, something. Dave is Department Department of Homeland Security or whatever, or environmentals. And now we all go, okay, we're cabinet members now, brought on by the newer government, and we're going to fire everybody under us. And then whoever's the president at the time goes, okay, executive order, Dave, Aaron, and Albert, you guys are all fired because we're getting away from the government. The government's too fucking big because it's a goddamn cartel. So imagine what we could do with all those billions and trillions of dollars to make America better. I think that's maybe a rebirth of industrial revolution. We got trains, but that was terrific. Let's have more trains that do more shit. We need to be, I'll take your feedback on this, but my belief is we need to be smaller. We can't say, again, going back to we're all breathing the same air, we can't say, well, let's move all of our farts to China or all of our farts to Australia and nobody knows about it. It's going to make the world better. It isn't. We have to take control of our own land. And that's what's at least great about the US is we've got a lot of land.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts? Even if it was the contiguous states, it doesn't have to be the Hawaii and Alaska. So thoughts on that?
Well, my belief, now again, I'm no expert, but the Japanese have had that they've had a lot of government investment in their transportation and in their infrastructure, and everybody is very well aware. They're aware of, we have poor infrastructure. A lot of the last investment, government investment, widespread investment in infrastructure was during the Great Depression, was gearing up in part of the World War II effort. Even shortly after, where we built, the government built the highway system. And that spurred huge, ease of transportation. And now Ford may have been, behind some of that because that spurred on a whole lot of people buying a whole lot of cars. But
Exactly.
we haven't had a great investment in infrastructure since then. It's one of those costs that isn't sexy, and it's not, it's not terribly profit driven. So I think we need, and there's been a lot of talk about it from both sides. I really do think we need a huge investment in infrastructure so that we can have that sort of technological advance. We spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars blowing up and rebuilding other countries. And we've heard stories of like power plants being built in other countries that are never going to be turned on. Stuff like that. Using that investment here is, it can create jobs, it's going to create lasting infrastructure. And even from an environmental standpoint, we could build solar farms that could power the entire country. There's not enough profit behind it. There's not a big enough appetite behind it. If we built 10 square miles of solar panels in the middle of the desert in Arizona, we could generate that power. We got to transfer that power and transmit that power. And there's a whole bunch of problems with that. Transferability, eminent domain. We got to build the infrastructure to move the power from one place to another. We spent a lot of money building airplanes and tanks that are literally sitting in the desert. Let's build a few less tanks, or let's not build the next version of the next fighter jet. Let's use the one that we've got and spend that money on veterans. Of course, we're all horribly biased in that regard, but
because we should be, because we earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got the calluses because I did the shit I did. That means I've earned my seat at the table. And that's what I was thinking of too, is like, I think that veterans need to have the America moving forwards needs to be more of the more you serve in any capacity, it could be military, it could be other higher level stuff like there are good people in bad systems, and then bad systems eat up those people. So we need to say, okay, for the great teachers out there, for the great doctors out there, for the great lawyers out there, even, that you guys get, the more your service you do to the country, the more like voting power you have, or some shit like that. You know, you're worth 5 votes as opposed to 1, kind of thing. Because you're, there's so many, pardon me, guys, there's just so many stupid people out there that just, they want to go every day. And this is something I even learned today. It's I won't say gross or disgusting, but like guys like us go, what kind of sick mind do you have to go to work for the same company for 40 years, and you drive this far in, drive out, sit in a cubicle for 8 hours a day? Like, what kind of nut job do you have to be that? You're enslaving yourself every day to that cubicle. You're doing it yourself. Guys like us look at that and go, ugh. So that's why Aaron mentioned earlier, we're like, not unhirable, but like we don't employ well. We have to go do our own thing and make our own menu and make our own money. But when we do go make our own menu and make our own money, we make more of it than the slave that's enslaving themselves. Because the highest of higher ups go, well, if there's real slaves, like sex trafficking and shit like that, then there's like people who drive 8 hours a day in horrible traffic, whatever. And then there's like guys like us who are above that fray, but we're still not. Fuck you, crazy money, right? So if they're looking down disgustingly on all of us, and we're looking somewhat like discouragingly towards people that are below us, kind of a thing, where do we go from here?
We know part of the problem with that is that, and I don't know the exact numbers, but they're pretty high. Like during the Vietnam era, something like 30% of the people in the country had a direct connection to someone who was in the military. And now that's like 5% or some really low number. So the vast majority of the population is totally disconnected from the military. And so they don't really give a shit about veterans in that regard. I mean, on a personal level, yes, my daughter does, my friends do, 1-to-1 people do, but in general, it's not a big deal. And then you have, and it's the same thing that in that percentage, applies to Congress and the states and all the representatives. So the number of actual veterans who are in those kind of political decision-making positions is far lower as a percentage than it ever has been. So we're fighting an uphill battle in that regard. That's one thing that sticks out about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting, and I know we've all experienced it over the years. There is so much more, almost like veteran awareness. Like, 10 years ago, I never got thanked for my service. Just 10 years ago, really didn't. Now it's almost ubiquitous. Like, anytime I introduce myself and I say that I'm a Marine Corps veteran, the first thing out of people's mouths is, well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Oh, no limit to the free or discounted stuff on Veterans Day. Thanks, Applebee's.
Right.
But it's all so surface. It's all so look good.
Yes.
There's no teeth to it. And it's almost like, well, I say thank you for your service, so I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dave, like you were saying, a lot of people were connected to the military in Vietnam, obviously World War II. Generations of people who actually were affected by military conflicts. We're not. Like ever since Vietnam, it's always been over there, and it's always been limited, and it's always been isolated. Like Gulf Wars, War on Terror, Afghanistan, like nobody had to, like the country as a whole didn't play a role. Nobody had to conserve aluminum or ration sugar, or it was over there. It didn't affect people's lives daily. That stuff wasn't even on the news every day.
No. When it was polished. It was condensed down to something very appetizable.
Very, very, very. So there's been generations of people disconnected from the military and what we're asked to do and what we are doing and have done. Honestly, that's why, the wars in the Middle East lasted 20 plus years, because we were disconnected from it. I mean, World War II was 4 years.
Yeah.
That's it. We did all that. We conquered Europe. We conquered Southeast Asia in 4 years. And we haven't fought a war like that since.
No.
You know what's funny about like building, let's say building a boat versus building like a rich guy's ship. So building a yacht, it takes 5 years to plan for a yacht. So isn't that crazy? Imagine being so rich that you have time to wait 5 years for a yacht. One boat.
Yeah.
One. In today's technology, that's insane. So that brings me back to that point too, of back to what you said too, of like, man, look what we can do when we're, dare I say, forced into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now is going to be forced? Because I'll tell you this, the country right now, let's say the globe, but our country too, we've not cured homelessness across the board, drug stuff. We haven't cured that. So I always get bent out of shape when people go, well, I'm Oprah and I want to send backpacks to Africa. Why not send backpacks to, you grew up in like Alabama or Georgia or some shit. Why not send backpacks there? So, like why not be in your own backyard first and then expand out from there, which is fine. I mean, but you're American, you can do whatever. But now our borders wide ass open, and what are we gonna do? What's the answer?
Part of it is, and this is going to sound a little controversial to some people probably, is the social indoctrination. The social indoctrination, like I remember driving by my daughter's school a few years ago, and they probably had 500 flags out there. And it's like, really? What does all these flags and saying the Pledge of Allegiance and all that have to do with education? Well, it's an indoctrination. Now it's people just expected. Oh, we live in the greatest country on earth. This is what I love. People come up to me and say, we live in the greatest country on earth. I say, well, how many countries have you been to? Well, I went to Canada one time. I went to Detroit and crossed the river. So, yeah. And, it was clean, but nothing compared to us. And so we have this whole social indoctrination that people are thinking this is the greatest country on earth. Everything we do is the greatest thing that could be done. And therefore most people are in this hyperbolic shell, basically, of really not having an awareness of what they can do, what we could do if we just really set our mind to it, just like Aaron said about the wars. If we set our mind to it, we could have been out of Afghanistan in 4 years, in 3 years, in 2 years.
We're not even there in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's the idea. The whole thing was built on, once again, trust the government. Trust, what's his name? Who I lost all my respect for him, the general who,
Oh man.
I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
There's too many.
But Dave, you're absolutely right, Dave. I see it too. And, I moved to Chicago 6 months ago from Metro Detroit. So like yeah, you go to Detroit and cross the bridge over to Windsor. Yeah, Windsor's kind of crappy. But you know, moving to a new city, and everybody knows Chicago's got plenty of problems. And it's been interesting from the standpoint of, you know, like I live in a nice suburb right outside, like I can see Chicago outside my window across the street, but I'm in Oak Park, and literally crossing Austin Boulevard. Oak Park, very nice. Doctors and lawyers, great schools, lots of yoga places. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You cross the street, abject poverty, terrible schools, crime, boarded up buildings, burned out buildings, literally just crossing the street. And if you've been to Detroit, it's like that too. It's staggering. So when you talk about people not going to other countries, people don't go to South Chicago, the south side of Chicago, because they're terrified they're going to get shot. It's where the best barbecue is. But you know, like people will go to people will go to other countries. People will go to other parts of their own cities and see, hey, there's work here to be done. For sure. So it is frustrating, and I can see the frustration of like, why are we sending billions of dollars to other countries? It's rough. It's not that simple. There's geopolitical involvement. There's all kinds of trying to keep the world as stable as possible. We don't know more than we think that we know. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense.
Dave, I'm curious. What do you think, Dave, with your chemistry background and stuff? What do you think about like hydrogen vehicles, even to include not even on the ground, but like blimps again? Blimps used to be a big thing. So how do we get back to like blimps, even just in the U.S., you know, traveling around?
Well, we have 3 huge auto manufacturers in this country that are not real crazy about alternative means of transportation. That's why we don't have high-speed rail and some of those kinds of things, and really good infrastructure in the metropolitan areas, because they want to sell cars, and they can't sell cars if people are riding on the train. And it's the same thing in the energy. We have big energy companies, Con Ed, TVA, all these other big energy companies. If anybody's going to provide the energy, they're the ones that are going to do it. So they're now started sliding into the solar and those kind of wind businesses, because they want to continue that control, and they have the money. And there's 535 representatives in the government up there, that all of them have at least a couple of fingers in the pocket of those big money people. And so they're not too inclined either to promote those things, because on the one hand, healthy people, on the other hand, healthy me with a generous payout from, you know, my stock dividends. And that's the choice that I see people making.
Absolutely. It does feel like it's all about the next election. And if you don't take, they're going to go find somebody who will.
Yeah.
I would love to see Congress expanded. We set the limit arbitrarily. I think they're representing too many people. Let's double the size of Congress. Let's have them represent half as many people. At least make it harder for those companies to buy them. Make it more expensive. Make the cost of doing business more expensive. Which is
I've got a really great idea based off what you said. Go me on this.
Yeah,
I think a great way to solve problems is let's reinstate dueling.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yes.
When your life is on the line, I bet you make a decision different. You know?
Yep.
I haven't heard anybody talk about dueling in a while, but I guarantee you get that. I don't have a glove in here, but slap tomorrow is on. Or else do this. All right. You start counting 10 paces. Oh, shit's going to change real quick.
Yeah, that's right. with AR-15s.
Shit, yeah. Freaking the red scopes and shit, or the red dots on pistols.
Well,
Crazy.
there's a couple of simple things that could happen, but once again, we're not in charge of those. And one of those is term limits,
Yes.
and the other is cut off benefits, like make them pay for their own health care like the rest of us have to do. Those kinds of things. That's when real change will happen, when the people who have the power to change things are forced to change them, just like we were forced into the Second World War.
I'm going to take it from the Constitution. We are in charge.
Yeah.
We are in charge, not they are in charge. So,
ostensibly, yes.
Like big G God, little g government, not mentioned at all. Right? Us. Big G God, then us. Right? So we're in charge and we are rebels, the right kind of us. And we know that who's in charge. We know that we're in charge. But like you said, our backs keep getting pushed up against the wall. And it'd be really interesting to see what dueling would do again.
Yeah, and
I would clean house real fast.
Yeah.
Well, in part of that entrenchment, and I love term limits. That's actually another way that it would make it more expensive, because you can't like buy somebody and have them for 20 years. But it's easier to, when people are so splintered, when people are acting in their own best interest, it's easier to stay in power.
Mhm.
It's easier to keep small groups down rather than keeping a large group down. I would love to see we as veterans, as and I know that we're not monolithic by any stretch, and I know that we, veterans have different political views, but man, like 80% of what we want, we're all on the same page. How the veteran community does not operate like the AARP or the NRA or these huge blocks of people. Boy, we would be a really powerful group to be reckoned with.
I agree.
So this goes back to, supporting veteran community, lifting up our fellow veterans, reaching out, and some of this is like, I love working with veterans because we always swap stories. We've all got good stories that are not going to be recorded and broadcast on Rumble or YouTube.
Either.
Yeah, for sure. And we've all got a lot of the same struggles. Even like, I didn't know about I know a couple of former pilots. I didn't know about the night vision purple thing. So like, I'm gonna hit them up the next time I talk to them and say, hey, is this a thing for y'all? And really just like getting the veteran community together. There's some great organizations out there, but even those are fractured. In the nonprofit community, and this is always staggering to me, the biggest category of nonprofits are veteran service organizations. There are more veteran nonprofits than any other type.
Is that right?
And it's because everybody's doing their part, but it's so like, there's 47 or 50,000 veteran nonprofits. Like
Wow.
it's staggering. And it's because we're all operating separately instead of working together. So got to find a way to work together.
You think there might be a way to create an umbrella organization for those nonprofits? Not really an umbrella organization that they fall under, but one that they could all connect to, like a
like in the real world, that one, not a monopoly, but kind of like that, right? Like somebody owns the thing over here on healthcare, and somebody owns the thing on dogs, or somebody owns the thing on entrepreneurship or some shit.
Well, just an organization maybe that
Mhm.
that connected, that their whole outreach was to veterans nonprofits.
Mhm.
Everything that they did was around veteran nonprofits, in with meetings and conventions and all that. Try to get everybody on the same page, and especially with people like Albert that have such great uh, information and experience with benefits and those kinds of things. If we could all, if there was some common thread that we could lace throughout those organizations, that would be a huge block.
Yeah, there are some big ones for sure. I mean, the Disabled American Veterans,
Yeah.
the DAV.org. That's a big group. Geez, I think that Veterans in Business, they have an annual convention. I want to say it's in San Diego or New Orleans. I forget. Uh, there's a Veteran Chamber of Commerce, but they don't do a whole lot.
Mhm.
I wish
Yeah.
they did more.
There's none of them in Indiana, the entire state.
Yeah,
Some are
I
bigger
mean,
than others, but there's none. The Veteran Chamber,
yep,
zero in the entire state of Indiana.
I went
yeah,
to the Veteran Chamber of Commerce. They have. I just found out about them a couple months ago, and they have these little meetings. I forget what they call them now. Meet and greets, basically, is what they are in the big cities:
mhm,
Cincinnati, Columbus, uh, Cleveland, Toledo, once a month. So I went to the one in Columbus last month. There were 6 people there,
Hmm.
2 people from the organization,
yeah,
and we, exchanged contact information. I have not heard from a single one of those people since that meeting. Not a one. And they talked as if they were really inspired, and they were really
Mhm.
really make this a real deal, and they were wanting to connect with all the normal chambers. All, I say normal, but all the
Yeah, yeah.
big chambers. Nothing. They didn't even send me an email saying thanks for showing up, and it's been nice to meet you, and is there anything that you maybe could help us with? Blah blah blah. Nothing. So
yeah,
that organization to me,
That's what frustrates me about nonprofits is that in order, see, I'm a for-profit. I get paid by my clients on the free market. What that
for
means is
you
I
get
have the
paid
opportunity.
for else.
I have the opportunity to make more money for myself and a lot more money for them. I also have the ability to have somebody say, "Hey, Albert, I don't like you. I'm not going to pay you," and that's okay. If they don't like me, there's other entities out there that can help them. But I don't work with people I don't like, and
No, I
yeah,
got you.
I mean, somebody will give you grief over $400, but they won't wake themselves up every day for their millions of dollars.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and this is not this is just dovetailed. I'm working with a couple of different organizations, really trying to relaunch one that our goal is to help local nonprofits, stay alive, get funding, get more awareness, and actually another for-profit. Still working. Actually, well, he might be mad if I talk about it because it's
No,
still early on. But an app, which will be a website where there is a map and a listing of every veteran-owned business, every veteran service organization, and every government veteran. So that's going to be every VA clinic, every VA hospital, all of this in a database, easily searchable. You can find different services and support that's coming.
It made
So,
me think of, so I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Combat Motorcycle Club. I'm not part of them, but they have, if you guys look them up, they've got a like Google map of all their locations, and that's what you're making me think of. Is I think it's a great idea. I don't know about necessarily the healthcare side. I mean, that does make sense. That hey, who's affiliated with? If you're an hour away from the VA and you got a booger, where can you go and that kind of thing. I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
You know, technology and government don't usually go together very well. So it just has to be usually civilian side is going to make that hell of a lot better. But I think that goes back to what Aaron's talking about too, is that nonprofits don't know about grants for marketing.
Yep.
They don't know. And if they don't know, they're not going to actually get it done. They're not going to care enough to know or care enough to do anything about it. And that's why I was going back to it being a profit versus nonprofit. But because I pay a lot of money for people above me to get shit done. And I've got all new website coming out with all kinds of like sales funnels and click funnels. And just, I'm saying on my old website is old school Amish. Now I'm going to be in the 21st century. So it's just that different because it's a force multiplier. I wake up every day and I get the same heart-wrenching feeling of if my kid was being slowly run over outside of my house because I'm not helping enough veterans. I'm helping maybe 100 a month right now and has been consistent for 5 years, which is, again, great. I'm glad to be where I am, but I know I can help. I have the capacity. My website currently cannot handle. I only have days or hours in my day. I don't get Aaron's days and Dave's days. I need to have force multipliers. So that's why now we're having affiliate programs and stuff like that, which you guys will all learn about here in the next couple weeks. So I'm going to beat you to death with that. But you have to have force multipliers. There are millions of veterans who need my help now, and I'm only just trying to get the slowest itty bitty drip more from 100 to 1,000, and then from 1,000 to 10,000 as quickly as possible, and make it scalable. I'm not scalable. If somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to send you 10,000 veterans today," my calendar is going to get booked out, and it's going to force me into saying something. But like I told my marketing people and my staff, I can't emotionally handle not helping more veterans. I have to help veterans. That's why I've got a book. I don't like books. I've got 2 master's degrees in flight school, and I don't like when people write paragraphs. You're making me think of this, Aaron. When people write paragraph, like a nonprofit out there wrote something to me and some veterans this week. It's one paragraph like this. One paragraph with 10, should be 10. No, hi, this is so-and-so. No sign, no signature block at the bottom. I have no idea who sent the email. I know who the nonprofit is. I have no idea who sent the email personally. I have no idea where they are in the food chain of said nonprofit. And there's no signature block at the bottom, and they mushed everything into 10 instructions into one fucking paragraph.
Yep.
That is instant headache for me. I can't stand that. You have to break shit up. Let the words breathe. Like, not necessarily bottom line up front, but I mean, at least let me basic fucking, hey, you, this is me. Here's what we're doing. You know, yeah, man. Some of you nonprofits out there just don't know how to. That's why they don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to go. They don't know how to grow.
Yep.
That's why so many nonprofits out there just continue to suffer. And that because I go to special operations events too, and I can't believe the people that I've had, like Dave just mentioned. I can't believe the nonprofit people that I've stood right in their fucking faces, and they say, "I'm the director of this special operations thing, and I'm not a special operator, but my husband or something is, and now I'm the director of operations, and we're going to do so many good things." And I go, "Okay, well, follow me and let's go do the good things." I don't hear back from them either. Same thing, same fucking thing.
Yep.
Only veterans care enough. Unfortunately, I've got widows out there whose husbands are dead, and I don't charge widows. I charge other people, so I don't have to charge widows. Your husband's dead. Your money's not going to bring your husband back. I didn't kill your husband. The government didn't directly kill your husband. Money's not going to bring your husband back. It's crazy when these wives learn about the money, and I tell them about it, and I've delivered money to a handful of them. It's amazing how they'll get a little bit door number one of the money and then just leave the rest of it and go, okay, I'm going to go do something else. And I'm like, well, that's not life altering money. That's $1,500 a month, and your husband's been dead for 15 years. You got $20,000 worth of back pay on that. You got some health insurance now. That's door number one. The government will always lowball you and give you hush money. Take this, go the fuck away. Everything else is going to be harder. So I'm going to go back to some words you guys made me think of. The more you risk, the more reward you should get.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the government will only give you easy money because they want you to go the fuck away. They'll go, oh shit, your husband's dead. Here's whatever. What do we give her? It's a wheel of fuck 'em. Spin the wheel of fuck 'em. You know, like, hey, it's low ball. It's you ever seen the like play like not a real wheel. It's a real wheel, but it'll be like on social media. You guys were making me think of this earlier. The older you get, the more pain in the, you know, what hurts everything kind of a thing, right? So it's like the wheel of pain, and you spin it, and then the arrow just drops down because gravity
hurts today.
down. And it's like, it's like the smallest sliver. You're kind of like, you know, way up here, nothing hurts today. Down here, it's this little bitty sliver. Everything hurts. That's what we're on the track for, right? So same thing with the government. The government's going to go, hey, what money did this veteran earn or their family earn through their service? High reward, high risk. And then the government goes, yeah, but we're still going to give you like the low ball fucking amount. So I point back to risk and reward. The more you risk, the more you should be rewarded. It's shocking. That's why I have a podcast and books. I don't like writing books. I don't like writing pretty much anything. There's different ways of doing it these days. I'm not calling it ghostwriting, but like interviews and stuff like that. I'm going to have somebody else do this, but at least I'm going to read my own damn book before it gets published and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the fucking Dakota governor who is getting backlash right now for that crap.
I think she actually read it and was cool with it.
Yeah,
which is even fucking worse. So
that tells you a lot right there. I shot my dog and I'm proud of it. Oh,
yeah, right.
Right?
Aren't I tough?
Yeah.
I tough on paper, but yeah. Oh my god. So anyhow, but I know we're coming up on time, guys. So I just want to pivot back to back on track with if there's anything you guys want to promote. I know we talked about some veteran organizations and events and stuff like that, and I told you guys, man, this time goes so fucking fast.
It does.
Yeah.
So, but anything we talked about today, make sure you guys email me. My staff will make sure that goes out in front of other people, and make sure we're going to do some behind the scenes stuff here in a little bit, but we're going to keep chatting for probably another 10 minutes or so. But make sure everybody out there that you're liking anything that Aaron and Dave are up to, and we'll make sure that we're all the disclaimers, all the description information or the links are in the description boxes below for any kind of events that you guys are talking about. And just keep doing good shit, man. I mean, you guys doing great stuff. That's why we're here. Keep me posted. Please participate with my book stuff so I can hit #1 list next Friday, the 24th. For those folks who are seeing this after the 24th, join us for the celebration of me being #1. #1 only helps me be more of a positive tool for veterans. That's all it helps with. Like, I don't personally give a shit about it other than it just gives me more of a springboard to do that. So I appreciate that. But anything else for the public before we go behind the scenes and talk other shit?
Well, thanks for the platform, Albert. It's really it's needed. I think, even a lot of veterans, we talked about people, thanking you for your service. That's you're 100% right on that, Aaron. Maybe 6 people told me that prior to like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably knew me well. It was probably during the course of a party or something, but that's become the social thing to, oh, that's what we do for our veterans. Thank them.
Yeah.
Well, what about benefits? Why would we pay them benefits? I mean, you look like you're fine to me. I don't see any problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the attitude, and people just are not affected at the level that they were back in the day. But the more, and I'm all about, I want to help veterans. That's the thing. And I don't know why it took me so long to get around to it. But one of my great mentors used to say, and it's pissed every woman I've ever been with off. And that is, why is the booby prize? It doesn't matter why. It's not why. It's not where we are. It's where we want to go. What do we really want it to be? How do we want it to be? So I'm all about, moving into the future. Not forgetting the past, but just, keeping in mind that the past is nothing but memories now. There is no past. We can never go back. There's no way we can jump back and redo something. The past is nothing but memories, and there's a bunch of collective memories for all of us. We all tend to remember certain things, but it's just memories. So if we really want to make an impact, if we really want to make a difference, then that's in the future. And so what we have to do now is set our sights on what can I do today that's going to benefit the people that I want to benefit tomorrow. There's my soapbox.
Yeah. Aaron, floor's yours.
Yeah, I know we're all busy. I know we all got a lot going on. Search out your fellow veterans, get together, veterans in your community, support veteran-owned businesses, support veteran service organizations and nonprofits. That's the way we're going to, help each other with whatever, we're all dealing with something, whether it's a bad knee from service, or a TBI, or PTSD, or, man, I don't know why I'm so irritable. I didn't used to be this way. Whatever the case, it may be seen, it may be unseen. You never know. The battles that all of us are going through. So reach out, support, get together with your fellow veterans. That's what I'm trying to do. Making my life more about that. So you're a veteran of business, please reach out. Veteran service organization, please reach out. I'm connected with a lot of folks. I know we're all connected with a lot of folks. I love making introductions. That is my favorite thing. Yeah. Like, hey, I've got this problem. Well, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can.
Yeah.
Veteran referrals first, almost exclusively. But that's how we're going to lift each other up and help each other out.
Yeah,
well
appreciate
said.
that. Yep. Since you guys love sending people, send them my way. We'll get them paid, and then they'll spend their money back on you guys. That's what's great. That's what's fun about being in rooms like this, where I love being in these multi-hour meetings with a like marketing people or something like that, and just like, okay, I know I may spend a couple grand a month on this marketing thing or these campaigns or whatever, but it's like, man, the connections that I've had with the people out there who are mentors above me that I pay, like marketing this or book stuff that, or internet stuff, things that are just outside my wheelhouse. And it's about the people. Like everybody's got everybody has different mentality to money, and different relationship with money. And some people are like just hoarders and stuff, and very big little squirrels or whatever. And that's fine. That you have to have an ecosystem for a reason. However, I love the relationship, and that way, even though a miser penny pincher may look at me and go, Albert, I can't believe you're spending this on that or that on this, and that company really hasn't done anything for this company or whatever. But then I get in the room with the actual human and go, wow, I know what money he has delivered to me, and I know money that I'm delivering to him, and we together have delivered all kinds of money to somebody else. And it's just like these little blips, like the old school we call as the comic books or some shit, that of like just above their head, I'm seeing the dollar signs of, and they're not small dollars, people. They are not small dollars. So let me tell you that. $10 billion delivered to my clients, that's a fucking crazy amount of money. So I'll give you an example, a positive example. It's even smaller, but more impactful. There's a nonprofit out there that they sent me 50 clients 50 veterans. Now they've got over 50,000 veterans.
Wow.
They sent me 50 that are now 100% permanent total like me. And that's a minimum for receiving $5,000 a month for each one of them. And that is a $3 million amount for each person in their lifetime on average. So I'm even lowballing that, and that's $160 million. What a great story for that nonprofit. And me. And us. So you just never know. There's big fucking money out there. We've all been around it, whether it's ships that Aaron's been on or Dave's been out there doing stuff. We've all been on some. We know there's abundance out there. So don't think in tens and hundreds of dollars. Think in way bigger than that. Put a few more zeros after that and go, how do I get to my first million? How do I make a life? How do I buy that yacht that's 5 years out there in the future? So yeah, anyhow, but I think I'll put a pin in it there, and Jenny will go ahead and go behind the scenes from here on out. So market at about 146, 147 rather, and we'll take it behind the scenes, and we'll do some other chatting here. So, but well, guys, again, shit, man, 2 hours goes by fast. I know we're about 5 minutes to 2 on my end, so we're behind the scenes now. So just let everybody know that they're behind the scenes. What do you guys think about today?
Oh, this was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Excuse the garbage truck in the background.
That's right.
Oh, damn.
Perfect timing. It's just an air raid coming in.
Timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great, Albert. Thanks for the invite. I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. It'd be nice to, keep the connection going between us three for sure, and anybody else that wants to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And you guys come on anytime. It's revolving door. Hey, I've chatted with you once or twice or 3 times, whatever it is. And usually I'll have 1 or 2 guests. I don't think I've had 3 guests all at the same time. Not yet. But 2 or 3 guests at a time is good. So having a follow-up and all that kind of stuff, and just hell, even just to talk, like you guys said, it's nice to be in a room where we're on that same high level frequency of let's get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
So, I may motivate you. Oh shit! Wow, you talked to this other guy last week about the dog treat stuff. Now I want to help that dude, and now we're working in the animal care, and there's so many multi-billion-dollar industries out there. Just even one line item of the dogs, the healthy treats for healthy dogs. Fucking hell, man! That alone is a fucking $1 billion idea, and this guy is already ahead. He's already got those good comps. So.